I didn't know I was going this early. Right. Really, I'm all about is climate change and the whole hoax that it is today. But in saying that, I give you the evidence, and I give you the science. And there are cards here. My card just gives the YouTube channel with over 50 climate change videos I've made. That'll give you the detail of the science. All I can deal with in the first 10 minutes here is some headlines. That's all I'm about, is arguing the climate change. And the whole basis of a 15-minute city is climate change. So let's first of all start off with who the deniers are. Now, in real science, there's no such thing as a denier. In real science, skepticism is promoted. If you refuse to debate, you're not a scientist. You're just not. So the climate alarmists are not scientists, full stop. Now, let's go back to what they say. They say that since the Industrial Revolution, around about 1850, temperatures have increased between 1 and 1.2 degrees centigrade. I agree. So what do they, and they say, the next thing they say is that that temperature increase is caused by us, by CO2, what we put in the atmosphere. Have we put CO2 in the atmosphere? Yes, we have. I agree. But they say the temperature increase is due to that. So if we hadn't been there doing this, what we'd have done, we'd have stayed in the Little Ice Age. We'd have stayed with the Thames frozen over. We'd have stayed in what did they want to do? Take us back to that. Of course, that's nonsense. And the truth is, because any change in temperature is put down to man, and there are no natural variations anymore, they are denying climate change. So if you're going to use the word denier, use it with the climate alarmists. So there's a card with my website on, just a website address, and the card just gives the access to the science for you. I only argue science and evidence. I don't just talk in generalities like I have to here. Right. To date, if you had someone walking outside your house with a placard saying the end of the world's next week, and it didn't happen, and they repeat that year after year, month after month, you'd ignore them. But in all the last 50 years, there's not been one climate alarmist prediction that's come true. The Maldives, they should have gone by now. They've grown by 8%. Right? None of the islands have sunk. Valvu, the one that's most prone in the world to sinkings, grown by 2.9%. None of those predictions are true. And in fact, droughts are well down on the past. I was water resource engineer for Wales. I can promise you, droughts worldwide are well down on the past. Storms are down on the past. Tornadoes are down on the past. Forest fires are 20% of what they were in the past, in the 1930s. When Biden came in, he just deleted all the data, but it's still there from government websites. Tornadoes are down, floods are down. But you know, what really disturbs me is the way this alarmism has spread into our education system. And the kids now, even as old as 30, have had most of their lives, brainwashed by this. Now, there is an app I'd like you all to download, and it's called Inconvenient Facts. And there's two of them. Pick the one on climate, Inconvenient Facts. And it's an incredible app. I didn't write it. The man who wrote it, the scientist who wrote it, actually got banned on LinkedIn. And he asked why he got banned. And he said, you made a post saying you're about to be banned, you think. So we banned you. And it's not true. That post isn't true. So we banned you. I mean, that's how silly the world's become. So extreme weather is far, far less than the past. Remember that Inconvenient Facts app. It's available on all the phones, and it's fantastic. And it's great for kids. If you put it on your kid's phone and ask them to go to any point, there's 60 major points, and there's 2 to 3 minute quick videos on each to explain the lie. Right. Now, what we're talking about today is 15-minute cities. And I want you to think about this. The idea, let's take the Oxford, I spoke at the Oxford one. I think we had 8,000 to 10,000 people there, by the way. And when I spoke at that, they're going to divide the city into 6 zones. That's what's happening on all of them. And you're supposed to live within your zone. Now, you're only allowed out of your zone in your car 100 times a year. Over that, you pay £100 a time. But that 100 times includes your second car, includes your wife, includes going to the hospital. But don't worry, because under this utopian, the dystopian plan, you will have, inside your 50 minutes, everything you need. There'll be a cinema, there'll be a bowling alley, there'll be the British Museum, there'll be a clothes shop for every woman, there'll be one clothes shop. Some of your wives may argue about that, having just one little clothes shop to go to, right? Because everything has got to be within 15 minutes. That's not possible. A roofer who repairs roofs needs a big catchment to operate a business. You can't say to someone, you're going to be the plumber there, you're going to be the electrician there. It's total madness. There is no sense to it once you look into it. And I know the crowd here today is very small. But you know, at the end of this, when this really hits home to people, that they can't just go and visit their relatives, they can't go to their friends outside the 15-minute zone they're in without incurring a £100 fine. In fact, they can't even go to work without it, because the 100 times you'd be allowed, you know, that's nothing. You'd probably do that, you know, in 100 days, no problem, which is about 20 working day weeks, you know? So it's not possible. What they're proposing is not possible, and they give you no idea how they're going to put all the facilities in locally. Now, there are stories that go around. One I read recently was that the Afghanistan war was really caused by climate change. It really was, because there was a drought there, and the drought created the conditions for ISIS. So when you look at the crop record for Afghanistan, it's gone up and up and up, and at no time has it not increased. It's now at record levels, as crops throughout the world are at record levels. That's because of CO2. That's why we pump the CO2 into the greenhouses. So you're made of 18% CO2. The biggest explosion of life on Earth occurred when CO2 was 15 times higher than today. Right? Now, another point, now I'm in Swansea. I was asked to help with a solar farm near Swansea proposal. And listen to this is amazing. What I'm going to tell you now is serious. Every single wind farm in the UK, every single solar farm lies about how many houses. Right, let me tell you what they say. Go onto their websites, they'll say, this one said, we can supply 5,300 homes with our solar farm, according to Ofgem. So you go to Ofgem, and it's based on 20% electric and 80% gas. So what they mean is, we can supply those homes providing 80% of their energy comes from gas. I don't know how this makes me a fascist either. I'm a fascist because of these views. So, you know, that's how silly it is. And now, they also, the government in Wales, who are absolutely nuts, you know, they said, oh no, it's strategic, we don't need to do an environmental study. But it's not strategic, because it actually only supplies 600 or 700 homes. It doesn't supply the 5,300, and none of them do. So you can divide by 5 every single claim you see, because the Ofgem figure assumes 80% supply by gas. I'm the only one who actually makes this point. That's how bad it is. But now all the locals have realised how bad it is. It's not strategic, and therefore it didn't need an environmental study, and it didn't get one, because they said it is strategic. Really, really mad. So, look, the problem is the other side has got no evidence whatsoever to back up their climate alarmism, right? I'm happy to debate anyone, anywhere, and I have debated scientists. I debated a bloke called Lawrence Krauss, Professor Lawrence Krauss, brought out the best-selling climate alarmist book about 2 years, 18 months ago. And it was top of Amazon non-fiction. So I went on a Zoom call with him because we're going to try to arrange a debate in the London Palladium with me. And when I said about the data, he said, oh, Paul, I don't know the data I've used in my book, I'll just take it. Right? Amazing. So hold on, you've just written a book, it's the best-selling. No, I need another professor who knows about data. So the next Zoom meeting was with another man, a very famous climate alarmist professor who came up with Snowball Earth. And then they both said, yeah, we'll go ahead, 2 against 1 on the stage. So I said, fine, I don't mind, I've got the truth on my side. Then then they said, no, we must control the meeting as well. That's when we had to stop it. In other words, they're not willing to debate. I'm willing to debate any of that crowd over there peacefully. I've just had one of them when I was sitting down shouting Nazi at me, and they all turned on me shouting Nazi. Well, I'm 78, you know, there's nothing I can lose, mate. So, you know, bad luck. And I'm not a Nazi, right? I wouldn't associate with Nazis. And all I'm about is trying to get the message home on climate change. And I would invite any of them to calmly tell me anything that they can show me that I've said wrong or that can support their case for climate change. Even, you know.